You wanna go, you wanna leave. So baby, come and get away with me. You wanna go, you wanna leave.
And so at this time, you know, I'm starting to work for Redguard and starting to venture on into this new chapter of my life. And so everything's going good at home. It's just me and Hang, and that's it. You know, my son's back in Wyoming. It's just me and Hang. And I think we had plans on, you know, starting our own family, and we got married in August of 2014. And we had plans on just going along with life, you know, just seeing what happens kind of deal. She wanted kids and everything else like that. So we agreed to that, you know. And you know, she wanted kids, and when we first met, I was just like, I don't know, you know, because I've been through so much drama, so much heartache with my son, you know, and I just don't want to feel all that pain all over again. But she told me that's what she wanted, so I gave in and told her, okay, you know, we'll have kids together, or we'll try, you know, if that's what you want, you know, we'll try. And so everything's going good with me and Hang. She's working at a little aircraft company there in Wichita, Kansas, and she's working there a few months and everything's going fine. And right about the time I was working for Redguard, she told me, well, in other companies, I could get hired on with another company. They're fairly big, their benefits are a lot better, their pay's better, you know, and everything, but the only deal is I have to go to school for a certain amount of time. Like, she would have to go to school for, like, I think a little bit over a month or 7 weeks or something like that. So we talked it over, and I told her, I says, you know, if it's an investment in your career, in your education, go ahead and take it, you know. So school was conflicting with her work at the time, but I told her just quit your job or whatever you need to do, you know, just to further your education and your career goals. And so that's what she did. So she started working on that class. Well, at the time I'm working at Redguard, you know, everything's going fine and everything like that, but I don't really know what to do, you know. So I'm reading through the code book and I'm learning new things, you know, and they have a lot of welders that work for them. I think they had like 8 or 10 welders, and they had a few different locations. And my job wasn't to inspect what they're welding in-house, but to inspect what was being built in other manufacturers that Redguard was hiring to build these buildings. So I'd go from different location to location to inspect these blast resistant buildings. And I was just following the code on all this, so it was pretty easy. But as we start getting into it, some of our welders that we had in-house, like one of them or 2 of them had their welding certs and the other ones didn't. So I knew that we needed to get all these guys certified, you know, just to be up to par and to do everything right. And so what they were doing is they were outsourcing all their welder qualifications also. All their welders were getting qualified at, you know, through another contractor. And I was just like, man, we need to bring all this in-house. You know, that's the whole reason they brought me in here, and we need to implement a program and start certifying our own welders in-house. Well, at the time, I didn't really know how to put together a program. I didn't know the documents. I didn't know a lot of this stuff. And so I just started calling up like American Weld Society, talking to some of the code experts, reading through the code book and finding out, you know, how to qualify your own welders, what documents support all that, and everything. I started looking at everything. And when you're trying to qualify a welder, you pretty much have to x-ray that weld, or you have to do bend test. And then you compare the results with whatever the code specifies, you know, in the book. And so I'm trying to put all this together, but I'm kind of lost at first because, you know, they don't really know my plans. I just kind of like, you know, talking about it a little bit. And so, you know, I end up having them buy a strap bender to certify welders. And I start writing my own procedures. I start writing all the documents that support this whole program I'm trying to put together. And so I had to get like, you know, I don't want to get too deep into this welding procedure stuff because a lot of you guys out there probably don't even care to know, or it's just going to confuse you real bad. But I got a lot of procedures qualified first, and then we started implementing our own in-house welding certification program that I pretty much built from the ground up with all the supporting documents and everything, you know. And so that's what I did for that company, and I started feeling real good about myself because, you know, when I first got in there, I didn't even know, you know, how to be a welding inspector. Months down the road, you know, I'm building this whole in-house program, and I'm saving the company thousands of dollars just by doing this. And so things are going fine. We're moving forward with all this kind of stuff, you know, and things are good at the time. Well, at the time, you know, I'm thinking like, man, what's the purpose of life, you know? And I start thinking about all this kind of stuff. And I think about things I've done in the past, things I want to do, and I'm like, yeah, you know, I've brought myself out of the gutters, you know, and made a career of myself. I've established things I wanted to establish. I've, you know, made journeymans. I've got certified as a welder. I've been a welding inspector. What do I want to do next, you know? What do I want to do next? And what's the whole purpose behind life, you know? Is it all about money? You know, one day we're going to die or something like that. So what's the purpose, you know? And so, and I'm still working, and we're coming up like close to 2015 now. So I've been at Red Guard about like 4 or 5 months or something like that. And so I have all these, you know, thoughts going through my head. And so I start buying books on meditations and like chakra systems and it's pretty much like Middle Eastern theology kind of stuff, practices like the chakra systems. Like they claim there's like 6 or 7 energy points in your body, and through meditation and other practices and binaural beats and all this other stuff that you could actually open up these energy points in your body and experience like the spiritual realm or things from a spiritual viewpoint or just whatever, you know, kind of deal. So I was getting into all this. I started reading books on all this, started listening to like certain meditation chants and just binaural beats and just all kinds of different stuff. And they were talking about like a third eye chakra. It's called a pineal gland. It's a gland inside of your brain. And the books were talking about when it secretes a certain kind of hormone, you know, you'll be able to go into the spiritual realm or have visions or just whatever kind of deal. And so I started studying all this. All this is really interesting to me. And you know, in the past I used to watch a lot of TV and play games and stuff like that and just fool around. But now it's just getting real heavily into like reading a lot of books. Just knowledge, just pounding knowledge in, just all different kinds of books, you know, reading them over and over and over again, all kinds of books. And so this is on my mind the whole time, and I'm just like, I wonder what's up with all this. And so that's what I'm doing like outside of work, is reading these books and studying this stuff and seeing where it really leads, you know. And so I start buying like certain kind of stones and gems. They have one stone called labradorite stone, and that's supposed to help you with open up your pineal gland. And I started buying medallions from the Middle East, you know, from India, and just all kinds of crazy stuff, you know, and just really researching this and looking deep into it because I was real interested in seeing if I could make something work or something happen. And I didn't know, you know, I was just doing that on the side, you know. And at the same time, me and my girlfriend are going to the gym, and, you know, I'm working and just everything. And so, right around this, so I'm doing all that just on the side, just studying all this meditation stuff and all that. And then me and my girlfriend, you know, everything's going good with us. And I'm still thinking, well, you know, I'm putting everything together at work, you know, all this welding qualification program and everything else like that. But I want to do more. I want to reach further. I want to do more. So I started looking into NDT, and NDT stands for non-destructive testing. And what that means is, like, when someone does a weld, there's different methods for inspecting that. Like, you could x-ray that weld, you could use sound waves to inspect it, and that's called ultrasonic testing. You could put magnets on it, and that's called like eddy current. You know, there's mag particle, there's like a whole bunch of different methods in NDT. And so I was thinking, well, since I'm in the inspection field now, I really need to get some of this stuff underneath my belt. I need to get certified as an NDT guy also, you know, or get some knowledge or background behind me. And so I started looking into classes, and they were going to pay for it and everything else. And so I was talking with a few guys, and this one inspector that I was talking with, he was an NDT guy from a third-party inspector. And he was saying, well, if I really want to get into NDT and learn that side of things, you know, I should, they have a program at the college in Kansas where you could go down and you enroll in college for 2 years, get an associate's degree, and at the same time you get an associate's degree, you learn all the inspection methods as far as NDT goes. You learn all the background stuff, all the lab hour stuff, you know, and then after you get all that, you just pretty much got to go out there and get your hours. Well, I started looking deep into that too. And American Weld Society is the same society who I got my CWI through. They have a deal, if you have 10 years worth of welding experience and you have an associate's degree, then you could go, then you're already qualified to test out for a welding engineer. And I thought, man, I'm on to something here. And so I started thinking about it, and I was like, well, if I go to college, I'll get an associate's degree, I'll get an NDT experience under my background, and it qualifies me to test out for a welding engineer if I want to do that, you know. And so I was looking at things like from that point of view. It's like, man, I can knock out 2 birds with 1 stone right here. And so that's what I did. So I stepped forward and I enrolled in college, you know, thinking nothing of it, you know. And so I started, and the college was mostly based online and everything like that. So I started going forward with it and start going through college and everything like that, and going after this degree, you know, pretty much. And so after I'm going with this degree and everything, you know, I'm doing all my schoolwork, everything's going fine, you know. I'm working, I'm going to the gym, you know, I'm reading up on meditations, I'm getting a college degree all at the same time. And I pretty much stopped working out so much because my wife, Hang, she got put on second shift. So I wouldn't see her till like 11:30 at night or something like that. And so I just focused on work and schoolwork and everything else and reading on my books or whatever, you know. And that's pretty much what I focused on. And like I told you, I had this labradorite necklace, and I had some medallions from India and stuff like that. You know, I was kind of getting into that stuff, but I didn't really know what to think. And so this one guy was talking to me, and they were talking about past life regressions, and that if you find, you know, someone who's a psychic, a medium, or something like that, they can do past life regressions. And so I started looking in the phone book, looking around town, you know, on Google and stuff, seeing if I could find someone in Wichita that would do those kind of stuff. You know, because I was thinking, well, I'm getting real heavily into all this meditation stuff. I wonder what my past life was all about, or whatever. This is just what I was thinking at the time. And so I found someone in Wichita, Kansas that done it. And they were charging like $100 or something like that for like an hour or something, you know, to do a past life regression. And so I went in and I seen her, and she had me sit in this room and meditate, and she's talking me through all this stuff, trying to get me into a past life regression. And I guess she had a pretty good background. She claimed she could see spirits. She claimed that she could do a lot of crazy stuff. And she's been in all this, like Reiki, she's a Reiki master, you know, a psychic medium, and just all these different titles for like 30 years of her life she's been doing this for. And she had a little store in Wichita, and she would sell all kinds of stones, rocks, books, just everything under the sun, and even have like people come in and meditate there and everything. So I really thought that this was going to work. I thought, well, I'll go see her because she's pretty much a pro at all this. And so she's going through all the motions with me, and we're sitting in there doing all these meditation practices and everything like that. And for some reason, she can't get me to go back into a past life regression. And we're sitting there trying this for like an hour and a half, and nothing's happening. And she's like, well, maybe you're just not open. Maybe you're not this. Maybe you're not that. And she's just saying all this stuff. And I'm just like, I'm really, my gears are spinning now. And I'm thinking, man, what's all behind all this? So I decided to ask her a question. And I says, well, I got a question for you. Can you, if you're open to hearing it? She's all, sure. And I says, well, what do you think about God and Jesus and the devil? She says, well, my real thoughts are, she says, I really think that God and Jesus are the devil, and that the devil's really God. That's what she told me. And that just blew my mind that she would say that. But I just listened to her, and I was like, oh, okay. And I went home with that, and I thought, like, why does she think like this? Why does she have this perspective? And I was like, it's kind of weird, And so I was thinking about, like, I need to look further into this. So at the time, I really didn't give up meditations or nothing like that. It's just I want to do more research in my downtime to figure out what's behind all this meditation stuff and what's really going on, kind of deal. Because why would she think like that in the first place, And so I start researching all this stuff, and it's just like, I come across a lot of videos and stuff, like some were saying, oh, it's good. Some would say, oh, no, it's bad. And I didn't really know what to think, I was so confused as far as meditations and everything. And so, like I say, I still had the necklace and I had the medallion. And so I put it next to my bed, and I started going to sleep with this stuff. Just thinking like, I'd wear the necklace and I'd go to sleep thinking, maybe something will happen, kind of deal. And so it's real crazy. So I had really crazy dreams 3 nights in a row. Like, we all dream, we all have dreams, but like these dreams I had were so intense, so vivid, so real. It dwarfed all my other dreams in comparison. Like these 3 dreams that I've had while wearing this necklace and having this medallion, like they made all my other dreams look so insignificant, kind of deal. And I was just like, every morning I wake up, I was like, wow, that was a crazy, insane dream. And I've never had nothing like this before in my life. And so this goes on for 2 nights in a row. And then the third night I had a dream also. But something happened on the third night. On the third night, waking up from that dream, like my side of the bed was close to the wall. So, to get off the bed, I'd have to come off the foot of the bed or whatever, or jump over, So I woke up from the third night, and my face is turned towards the wall, and I just opened my eyes and I'm looking at the wall. Well, as I'm looking at the wall, I know you guys ain't gonna believe me, but I'm just telling you my experience. As I'm looking at the wall, someone talks to me, and it's like a man's voice talks to me, and my face is like probably 12 inches, 13 inches away from the wall, and something talks to me, almost like there's a person right here in front of me, but there's nothing there but the wall. And I got scared. And he talked to me, and he said a few words, and then he paused, and then he said a few more words. And I was like, oh man, oh my God, I got scared. I didn't know what to think. And I was just like, oh, I didn't even tell my wife. I didn't tell nobody. I just kept it to myself. And I was just totally scared. And I knew something was up with that necklace, and also with that medallion. I knew something was up. And that's why I was having those dreams and that experience. I think it was like a spirit or something. It was an audible voice right there, and it was a man's voice speaking to me. But it put so much fear in me that I got scared, and I didn't, and I just felt like I don't want nothing to do with this, And so what I started doing is, like, I had a couple meditation CDs, books on meditations, everything. I gathered up the book and the CDs and the necklaces and everything, and I threw them all out. I threw them in the trash, and I just started researching like I was already doing at the time. And I was just like, man, I really want to know what's behind all this meditation stuff, And that's just what I was thinking. So stick with me, guys. I got more to come. It's a long story. This is my testimony. I'm just skimming the top, like I've said it before. And subscribe or hit the bell icon, that way to support me. If you got any comments, put them in the comment section. If you want to hear more details or whatever, I could touch on that. But we'll see you guys in the next one.